Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to explain how to paint and to assemble the 1/8 scale Dayton switch for the Eaglemoss DeLorean model. About the paints, I've used Tamiya XF54 Dark Sea Gray, which is a color that really comes very close to the original color of the Dayton switch. For the internal parts, I used mostly the gold color for the internal contacts that you can see here. The wooden parts here I've painted with burnt umber, and the accents you can see here the 3 circles to say so. I've used copper, and when we take a look at the original DeLorean one, we can notice that also the internal contacts that are silver on mine is not exactly accurate, that these should be a copper too. About how to install it, to assemble it after you've painted it, of course I advise you to prime it and then apply the dark sea gray on top of that. Please do it with very thin layers, because this is a very small and fragile part, and all parts have to be assembled at the end, and if the paint is really thick, then parts won't fit. The most difficult thing in this build is how to attach these scale spring to the hook that's placed inside of the Dayton here, there. This is the most difficult part. If you get this done, then then the rest is going to be easy. So you can see the spring in the real one as well. The scale one functions exactly like the real one does. Well, let's try to attach the spring to the hook. I start by taking a pair of tweezers, and then you will have to enlarge the ends of the spring just a little bit in order to make it hook onto the 3D printed part, which I'm doing now. I'm just, let's see if that's visible. I'm only open it a little bit, so like that. That should be actually enough to hook it into there. There's a very small opening. If that opening is closed because you've painted it, or because there's still wax on it from the cleaning process of the 3D part, then you can take a very small wire, and with only the conductor, you just insert it through that hole in order to make that hole, in order to open that hole, so that the hook can go into there without a problem. So now I'm going to take the spring that I've just opened a little bit. Let me see which part I did. Well, yes, it's this part, I think. Yeah, it's the other one. Let me see. I'm going to turn it right now. Okay. So this is really fiddly, but we're going to get it done at the end. Yes, it's like this. So now you can see that the spring is attached to the hook, and the next thing is to, yeah, it comes out a little bit too easy now. And when it's attached in there, the only thing that you have to do is to put it in place, which is again really fiddly, but I'm going to give you a tip on that. I'm going to put it back there. Yes. What you also can do at this point is to squeeze the end just a little bit close, so that it doesn't come out so easily as you have seen it. So I'm doing that again with the tweezers. Yep. Now it's good. So now, in order to get it in place, just like this, in order to get it right into place, you can best put this one down like this. Then you take the hook, and then you lay it flat on there. Yes, and then you will have it exactly in this position that it has to go in. Then you put the hook in place, and you have to widen this end a little bit too, so that it just snaps in there. And when this is done, then the rest will be really easy. The next part is how to get the wooden parts, to say so, which are these, the side parts, how to get those in place, which are there. Well, the easiest way to do this is like this, and I'm going to try to assemble this one. This is my first prototype, and I've made a small adjustment on the final version that you all have, to make it a lot more easier to bring this part in place. So hold this part at the end like I'm doing with the tweezers. Try not to touch those three upward contacts, because if you do that, there's a big chance that you will break them. So, and you don't want to do that. The easiest way is to bring it in like this. Let me see. So it has to go through the hole there, and the hole is bigger on the final product. Then you put it upwards. Yeah, and then it's like this. What you now have to do is to push it, and on your version it will come, it will be a lot easier to bring it a little bit to the rear. Then you can just push it through that hole, and gently we will have to push this one until it is fully in the dedicated hole in front, which, let me see if I can do it here too. It's a little bit twisted, so I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Yeah, it's now in place there. I hope you can see. Well, that's it. That was also a little bit fiddly, but yeah, it went in. It should be, as I said, it should be a lot easier on your side, because the hole here is a little bit bigger, so you will have a lot more space to do that. So it's actually in place, and you will have to do the same for the other side. Well, one thing I forgot to tell you is that with the cover set that you received from me, you've got also two stickers. There's one that's extra for just in case if you ruin one. That's the black sticker that goes in here. You will have to cut the white area, and also to make 4 holes in it, in the corners, 1, 2, 3, 4. take a very small 0.5 millimeter hand drill to do that. And then you can apply it's just a regular sticker, remove the backing and place it there. That's before you put the wooden parts in. Then you take the part with the discs and make sure you insert this small pin into the hole there. The advantage of these very thin wall is that it can also bend a little bit to the back, so you can just pull it up backwards a little like you see here, and that will facilitate this part going exactly inside. One thing to mention is that if you take a look at this part, it has a flat side that goes on the left side like this, and there's a side that's a little bit rounded that goes on the right side, and that round side goes against the hook. And I'm going to show you a picture right now that explains how this part sits against the hook in order to make the mechanical movement. Well, now I'm going to insert it in that hole. You should have both wooden parts in place because they will keep this part from falling down. Now mine is already in place at this moment. Okay, and the next thing to do is to put in the Y handle. You will notice that there's a square pin on this side, and there's also a square opening inside the discs part, and the Y handle goes horizontally like this, exactly in there. We should have the straight part on the left side, as I said, and make sure you put the Y handle with the screw. I haven't painted this one, but I'm going to show it to you on the original one. There's a screw here on the handle, and that screw is also on the print, so make sure you paint that screw with the same copper paint as well in order to make it accurate. I'm going to show it to you in a moment in my finished Dayton switch. And then you just insert the Y handle into the discs part like this until it's fully inside, and then you can turn the discs, and when you rotate it, make sure you don't go too far because you could break the contact. So this would be like the maximal twist. Yep, it's like this maximal twist, and then it goes up. You can notice the spring functions exactly on the real one. It gets to tension on both sides, doesn't matter which side you put it, it gets to tension. That's the same construction here as on the real one, so it functions on the exactly same way. Now this black bar that's on top, it also has two ends. One of them is a small one that goes in the front, and the longer one goes at the back. This is also an important piece because it keeps the whole Dayton together. I always start by inserting the longer end at the rear in there, and then put it in the front in place. So let's see. These parts are really fiddly, but you will be very happy when done because the result is really amazing. It really is the exact same way as the real one. Let's see. Then I have the in the other hole, and I'm going to push it in there right now, and now it's, whoop, it's perfectly in place. Let's put this in on the right position. So here we go. Finally, you take the cover with a label made by Mike Lane. Mike, thank you again for making those. And the clear cover goes on top like this. We have to push it in front. It should fit perfectly there. And then your Dayton switch will be almost finished, because there's one more thing to do right now. There's an aluminum rectangle that's also present in the real one. And that aluminum rectangle that you will find in your Dayton cover set. I've included one with every cover. That one you will have to glue exactly between the two wooden bars in the rear of the Dayton switch, like this. I'm not going to glue mine right now, but it's just to show you how it has to look like. So this is how you assemble the Dayton switch. Here's my finished one. That's all painted and assembled. And here you can also see that small detail, the copper screw that's there. And this is it for now. See you next time. Bye.